Welcome to yet another episode on Talk of Town. We are here under the series called Beyond Boundaries. We are in conversations with subject matter experts, and the focus today is on entrepreneurship. As usual, I have with me three stalwarts: Mr. Muralikrishnan, who is a startup advisor, Mr. Charan, who is a corporate brand consultant, Mr. Sarvotham, corporate law consultant. We were just casually having a chat before this, and we realized it is advisor, brand, and corporate law. So ABC of entrepreneurship is here. We did discuss a lot of um, interesting inputs in the previous two episodes. We did cover the risks that are associated for various entrepreneurs. Today, we would love to hear from all the three of you about what are the rewards of having a startup advisor, having a brand consultant, having a corporate law consultant on their board, and what are the monetary and non-monetary rewards as well. I would love to start this time with Charan. Charan, especially in your case, when it is brand, it could be large corporates, it could be small and medium scale enterprises, or it could be individuals, right? Maybe you could start off with how you could how a corporate could be beneficial by using the services of a brand consultant.
Okay, I think it's an important thing that people need to understand in terms of the benefits. Okay, so in terms of we have covered a little bit in one of our earlier episodes as well. What would be the benefits? But because we are talking from a reward standpoint, see, generally we go about spending a lot of money in terms of promotions or advertisements. Okay, and there is a lot of cost involved with respect to the platform that we do, and in with respect to the size and length and the cost involved in creating and promoting it. Okay, so basically the idea of brand building is to minimize these costs as much as possible in terms of the cost needed to promote, but maximize the benefit in terms of the visibility that it gets because of an organic growth out of the content that is being created for the brand. It could be on various forms. It could be the brand's own social media. It could be an activity that they do on the ground that could create this. A lot of ways that could create a value for the organization where the spend is very small. The amount of money that they spent for it is very small, but the return in terms of the visibility, because when it comes to branding or marketing or reach, visibility is the matter that is very important here. Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to take an example of what Zomato did very recently as to drive down a point on how it actually impacted in a larger visibility for them. Suddenly, out of the blue, Zomato CEO, he published that they are hiring a chief of staff, and they are going to um look for charging a certain amount of money for the people who are wanting to join. So this created a lot of social chatter in terms of, is it right? Is it wrong? Is the approach right? Is the approach wrong? But what Zomato did is not like suddenly they realized, okay, let me put out a post. No, it was a very calculated, very structured, and very organized way of building a narrative towards a particular conversation. And it actually spread across into the public spectrum very organically. People started taking sides, people started taking perspectives. Some called it right, some called it wrong, some called in support of it, some called against of it. So all this evolved, and then they were able to make so much of visibility for them in a case as compared to, let's say, instead of doing this way, let's say if they had put an advertisement on a IPL screen for a publicity of a similar opportunity for somebody, let's say how much amount of money that they would have spent just for the media slot itself.
Yep.
So this is a very simple. I'm giving it very simplistically, but the way we strategically structure it and put it across, it gives you a lot of organic visibility for the brand. Now, if anybody who even does it again for a different thing, people will associate, hey, they are trying to do what Zomato did probably 6 months back, or what Zomato did probably 2 years back. And that is something which will remain to be on the people's mind for a longer period of time, more than any advertisement or more than any promotion could sustain on people's mind. And that is the power of branding.
Excellent, excellent. I mean, very relatable illustration as well for us. Coming to you, Sarvotham, again, in your case, you would have dealt with different styles of organizations and different categories of cases, right? One any interesting case that you would want to share?
Yeah, one thing that I can recall as of today, considering that there has been a slight surge in COVID cases, which takes back me to 20 and 21. Of course, it was all normal, and then suddenly overnight everything changed. Similarly, one client got a legal notice that he had to pay up something. Of course, he was constrained from providing a service because of the COVID related restrictions. Then he was first thing, if anybody sees a legal notice, they panic, they don't know what to do, and then in a hurry they try to call up the advocate, they try to call up the other side, then try to speak to them. All that were done, but however he did not succeed in getting into any settlement. Then the matter came to us. We read through the agreement, service agreements and all that. Then we identified, okay, there is a force majeure clause, why don't we try invoking it? So we just invoked it, sent a reply that okay, we are constrained from providing service because of the COVID related restrictions, I request you to waive. And then we did not hear from that the other side ever again. So it is sometimes it is just there, the answer is just there, which might fall on the blind spot. You just have to take some time with a calm mind, and maybe that is where the third party professionals will be able to help, because they think from a different eye, different brain. So they are not in the pressure like you are, like the businessmen are. So it is always better that in this context, I can say it's always better that we can approach third party consultants who can help us and get us out of the soup. So that the one thing that I from morning I've been able to recall, and this potential liability was over 7 crores for that client.
That's huge. Yeah.
That was really a huge amount. So
A
that's
sizable
something that
saving, sizable saving by applying common sense.
exactly rightly said.
Excellent, excellent. Mr. Murli, coming to you, it's been about 4 or 5 weeks since the previous episode. Any interesting, client conversations which you have had as an advisor, and where you were able to add value to them?
Yeah, yes, Ellen. There are many, but I want to take one example which may be useful for our viewers, and for us also it's a learning curve. There is one client of mine. I still do work for them. It's they're into student housing. So they were active in business when I met them first. It was about 2018. At that time, they were having about 350 students 350 bed capacity. Today, when we talk, they are touching the mark of 5,000 bed capacity
Wow.
in Bangalore. It's a 10x from. But what is important to learn from this client is COVID affected this business like any other business. I mean, this business is something completely shut down. Students went back to their hometown or their houses, and these hostels were completely locked for almost 2 academic years. The third year, which is the 2023 academic year, slowly started opening. And when we are sitting in 2 years' time, the business grew from 350 to somewhere about 2,000 bed capacity, came down to zero, and again we restarted. We reached again 4,500.
Wow.
Okay, this is a very interesting case to study. But what is important here is resilience. And there were 3 areas the client focused, or we all focused as a team. One, if you look at this business, the critical point is continuously we need deliver on catering. food food
Yep.
quality for all the 4,000 students, 4,500 students, three times a meal. So look at the volume and consistently we need to deliver. So there has to be a strong system and there is a strong monitoring mechanism for this. The other thing is maintenance, hospitality side. All the rooms have to be clean continuously. Maintenance has to be there, and we need to minimize complaints. The fourth important aspect is safety and security of students, which parents give much importance because 85, 80, 85% students are from north and northeast and west part of India, right? So
Yep.
that is another. All these three are, if you see, it's a transactional and continuously we need to deliver here.
Correct.
So there has to be a strong system and procedures to be adhered to. And in terms of backend, if you see, we were very strong in manpower and manpower planning, replacement, and backup plans. Finance and accounts, if you take all the areas, every student, every bed has to be profitable, every building has to be profitable. So we measure the turnover, expenses, and profitable on a continuous basis. Last, not the bare least, when we increase the bed capacity, we need to increase the sales also parallelly.
Correct.
So this is a very, it's not a consumer product or it's not a very uh, uh, usual, you know, it's neither a consumer durable or a consumer product where we can't adopt a certain strategy which works there. It's a very different industry. So this client engaged consultant me under me. There are teams working for them in different areas, and that has resulted in coming back. And today we are giving tough competition to MNC brands and people formed from different, heavily funded companies. And Touchwood, it's
Okay.
going very well. And I would say only two external, like Sarvotham sometime mentioned, people who are involving on sales, operations, and other routine works, they'll be under high pressure. They are very demanded. The work is very demanded in this service delivery. But we can work in peace. We can suggest a lot of things. Our strategies are working. And I would say this is one of the best case which I have experienced in the last few years. I will share
Awesome.
other cases maybe sometime later.
One common thing which I noticed from the illustration shared by all the three of you is, having a consultant would actually, they're not only, getting rewards in terms of monetary benefits, but also they're buying peace of mind. And
Absolutely.
in your relevant domains, you act as a sounding board in more situations, and that is when the founder can focus on his core business, relying on experts like you. Charan, one, again, another important aspect which all of us would have observed. The biggest branding exercise which we saw in the last few weeks is Operation Sindhu. The perfect illustration for brand positioning, the way it was branded, it was communicated, and the way it is being communicated to all the countries at this point in time as we are recording this. So, any interesting, client where you could work on their brand positioning and how it kind of helped their pull strategy for their as far as their product or service is concerned.
Interesting that you mentioned about Operation Sindoor. In the sense, there has been a lot of what you call anecdotes or takes that have been written in terms of how this entire Operation Sindoor's uh, information dissemination is like a case study or a masterclass in terms of a well coordinated branded effort or a scale that is as big as a country level. Okay, so I think there are a lot to talk about that aspect. I want to talk about a very specific example. Okay, see, generally, larger organizations tend to have the muscle, and I'm saying muscle, the money power to go about doing certain things with respect to executing strategies. Okay, but when it comes to smaller organizations, they are always at the crunch of certain budgets. Okay, so if we are to look to compete with large organizations with respect to the space that we are in, of course, in whatever space that we are in, we would be in a particular capacity, and there would always be a Goliath, and we would always be a sort of an aspiring David in that space. So what is the thing that we would have that gives us the power to take on these Goliaths? Could be the purpose through which that we are doing, and how we can effectively channelize our budget into some specific examples. Let me put this example here. See, generally on a social media platform, like for example, for a B2B business, LinkedIn is a professional business platform. Okay,
Yeah.
and in terms of putting out a narrative, or in terms of putting out a perspective of the organization on LinkedIn, the larger organization has a huge entourage to solve that or execute that. But for smaller organizations, there are two problems that they have. One is they don't have the people to do that for them. And the second thing is, what if I do, and how is it going to impact the kind of people that I want it to reach to? They don't have that confidence. Okay.
Yeah.
So when somebody is wanting to solve this problem for them, more often than not, branding comes into the uh, pedestal of solving this problem for them, because branding goes about solving this in a very sustained and a longer narrative. Okay, so a normal thumb rule for any social media page with respect to LinkedIn at least is, whatever the follower count that you have, in a normal sense, the content that you put out would typically reach 10 to 15% of your follower count. And out of the 10 to 15% of what it reaches, probably uh, 20 to 30% of that subset is the one which actually be consumed by people who are actually seeing it. Otherwise it will typically be like they just scroll around it and they don't consume the content. So as it trickles down, for an organization that has 1,000 followers, probably it may reach only 100 people if they are putting out some content. Then within the subset of that 100 people, probably only actually 20 to 30 people will only be seeing it for real. So for somebody in that kind of a space and wanting to do something, they'll be like, do I need to invest on this 20, 30 people who are going to see my content on a consistent manner? Probably, to start with, that is what you will be looking at very realistically, because that's what is the benchmark around creating content. But what happens is, when you invest your time on providing value to the people actually do the job of recommending your content and bookmarking your content and remembering you for the content that you're putting out there, rather than remembering the name that you represent. If you tell your name, people will remember you. Hey, this is what is the value that you provided me. Okay, so for this one client that I have been working for close to 10 months now, we started on this branding journey. Okay, so we started on creating content strategies in terms of how to appeal to the technical stakeholders for the space that they are in. They are into business, B2B space. So how do we create certain content for technical stakeholders? How do we create certain content for business consumers? How do we create certain content for people who want to associate themselves, like joining the organization, like people centric content? So we spread it across different levers, and we pushed and pulled on these levers. So incidentally, 10 months down the line, they wanted to uh, grow as an organization in a very big manner. Okay, and they effected a change in their organization. Okay, so this change, in a normal term, if they are putting out about this change, probably it would have fallen under a similar pattern of, okay, I have 1,000 followers, probably the content would have reached 100. Okay,
Yeah.
but then we structured this announcement in a way so that there was a large build up around what was happening in what they were doing. When finally that change that they wanted to announce to the organization, it actually blew out of proportion, and it actually went to 7x and 10x of their follower fold, which
Interesting.
actually, if we look at it from a pure play number standpoint, this is what we could call as viral. Okay, but then a lot of people think this virality happens overnight. It doesn't happen that way. There is a like this bamboo story. There is a sustained growth that keeps happening in the under the soil, and then that builds the foundation for it to shoot it at a faster pace at a later point of time where it is opportune. That's how actually it happened. For people who have been following, they wouldn't be surprised. But for people who suddenly saw that, hey, for all the posts that these guys have been putting, the reach have been probably 10% of their growth. Now, what they are seeing is 5x, 10x suddenly out of the blue. How is it happening? It is because of all the sustained effort that it is going around the aspects of putting out the right set of content consistently across a very structured and strategized channel. So this is how small organizations actually grab the eyeballs of the people who are in the industry space when they don't have the budget like as the big Goliaths have in the respective spaces. That's just an example here, Ellen. Sorry, I took a little longer, but I had to make that time to illustrate the point there.
Perfectly fine. In fact, two takeaways for me from whatever you mentioned. That when it comes to branding, things do not happen overnight. It is not T20, neither it is ODI. It is test match, but you need to stay invested for at least the entire World Test Championship cycle to get results, right? So that was one takeaway for me, if I can put it that way. And second important aspect you mentioned was that the entrepreneurs at large do not, or they're not able to foresee the kind of results they could get by doing a branding activity, right? Even the great Hanuman had to be reminded of his strengths, and here there is Charan who is ready to kind of instigate your strengths. Interesting. So Sarvotham, again, over the last few weeks, a lot of interesting cases. India is known for two things, cricket and cinema, and a lot of interesting cases coming across these sectors, this spectrum. But knowing you deal with a lot of companies, both listed, unlisted companies, even limited liability partnership firms. Again, over the last few weeks, did you end up in a situation where you saved a founder from a banana slip, or ended up having an apple because of your service?
Yeah, and I don't know if that is the case, but this one was interesting. It was building over a period of time that I can say this company was actually established in 1971. It's an engineering services company. So they have been providing good number of products. They have good product portfolio in engineering. Then back in 2012 or 13, they ventured into real estate.
Okay.
So it's a conglomerate now. So they have engineering services, and then there is products, and there is real estate. Now they wanted to venture into a bigger product portfolio. Turns out, since 1971, they had not registered their trademark. So in continuation with what Charan was telling, branding is, of course, it's very important that you place yourself in a good position in all the platforms wherever, but it's equally important to protect it. The only way you can protect your business marks and logos is by applying for a trademark registration. And since 1971, there has been no attempt made. So we were in shock actually. So then then of course it's a promoter driven company. It's the second generation now, because 1971 the father had started. Now the son wanted to register in his name, but the law does not allow it. Law allows trademark to be registered by the proprietor, I mean who's the original user of the mark. So let's say you want to register Reliance now. No, it's not possible. It's been Reliance Industries Limited which has been using it, and whoever is the first user will be recognized as the proprietor for that particular trademark. So it's a complex structure now to be registered in the son's name, but well, actually the proprietor is the company. It's not registered. We have to do it because they're expanding their product portfolio. So considered everything, the good structure that we came up. So we were able to register it in the name of the promoter by licensing the mark from the original company, and then he once the application was registered, and then he licensed it back to the other real estate company, engineering services company, and other product company, where he was able to get some royalty. So it was a complex structure, and at the same time, it was a public company which was open for more scrutiny. In the entire scenario, we decided that okay, it's better if we convert this into a private limited, because anyway, it is there was no chance for them to go for funding, because they have a good 300 400 crores turnover range every year. They've been growing. So considering that they had no requirement for external funding, so we decided, we first converted that into private limited. Of course, like I said, it's a year long process, for which we had spent about 2 3 months time to come to this decision. And then opinions were taken, and then it was presented to the board, they agreed, and then this was done. Converted that into private limited, applied for trademark. Now things seems to be in the right track, hopefully.
Excellent. I'm sure both Charan and Murli will agree that while Sarvotham was explaining this case, he was brimming with joy, the kind of advice he has given his client. So good to see
That's
such,
true. Actually,
you know,
when you see results, the joy automatically comes.
Correct.
yeah, yeah, excellent, excellent. Murli, I mean, coming to you, you've been doing a lot of turnaround stories for many clients. We initially believed that in your previous birth you were a traffic police doing U-turns frequently. So, I mean, in this birth you've been doing U-turns to a lot of drowning ships, right? So, one such case where you've handled, which has given you a lot of satisfaction in the recent past.
So this example which I am quoting now is a very very recent. It's about 4 months back. I met this client. Very humble background in Tamil Nadu, and he's into a very young person. The owner is just about 28, 29 years, but he's doing business from last 7 years. Just out of college, he was doing some small job, but he started this trading.
Wow.
He's into selling vegetables. If you see the number of SKUs would be less than 100, but he was doing about say 20 25 lakhs per month as a turnover. One thing which he is continually saying is no money in my bank balance. So many clients will always say that I'm doing good turnover. I've been in the business for 4 to 5 years, but no bank balance. My personal wealth is not increasing. I keep borrowing from outside. I don't know what's happening in my business. This is a common statement you will hear from a newcomer or even experienced business people. So when we say we started working on, it's a simple, you buy and sell. Technically, if you put it your markup in a right way, your pricing strategy is right, and you should not get into any a negative profit, or I mean, I'm not using the word loss, but it won't be negative balance or something. Your cash flow should be always positive. So I was just looking at, and we worked on what's happening in the company. Two things I found quickly. One, exactly like I said, the purchase, there is no control on what rate he is buying and what rate he is selling. And if this product is
Okay.
like gold, every day price keeps changing.
Yeah.
So there is some small points, like you like a hedging. You commit to a client that he's supplying to caterers and some of the companies where they run their staff
Canteen.
canteen. Right?
Yeah.
Large number of employees are working in industries and all. So his clients are, so he is committing forward of 2 months, 3 months, whereas the price is fluctuating. It looks very simple to tell me in one sentence, and it takes 30 seconds to 10 seconds to explain. But to fix this, it took about 2 months. Okay, this is the exact reason. So I buy at a different price, but I sell it at a lower price. Straight away, your business model is getting affected. I fix this problem, and clients, when they go, initially there was some resistance. Now today, every client is understanding. Yo, with the purpose, this is what I am problem facing. This is how I'll be doing. Most of the client agreed. When it comes to Horeca segment, also other clients, like Horeca is hotel, restaurant, and clubs and
Yeah.
association. It's so common word used. Restaurant business also, when we opened, I mean, the client went and spoke to the owners, they agreed. Now, one major problem is resolved. The other thing is quick fix, like how much is what is the kind of cost of fund when he's buying it from or from outside. Fix that. Today, in 6 months' time, he's into positive, and he's saying, yeah, my cash balance, and today I'm happy. No, I don't need to every day think about tomorrow purchase. What would I do? Which client will pay? Now he's working on reserves. So this gives a big satisfaction, and a youngster who is coming up and helping him, teaching the basics of business in technical terms, is so satisfying actually.
Excellent, sir. Excellent. One is being cash positive, ensuring that he's profitable on his transactions, and subconsciously you also reduce these anxiety levels on a daily basis, which is
I
a
agree.
massive boost to personality of that particular entrepreneur. You know,
If you understand the business, they start purchasing, going to market early in at 3:30 or 3 o'clock in early in the morning. Their business, delivery happens till during the daytime till evening 6:30. Technically, if it is not divided, if the work is not distributed, work is not delegated properly, you don't have people on play delivery side and all, the stress level is very high for the owner.
Correct.
yeah.
One delay in delivery can cost many things. So put process, and when he says, yeah, it's all working, the strategies are working, that's where you get, personally I am satisfied. Both of us are in win-win situation and both of us are happy.
I mean, trust me, this was one of the best conversations I have had in the recent times. I personally enjoyed listening to a lot of the advisory that you have individually done to your clientele, and I look forward to more such real case scenarios which are applicable, practically applicable to a lot of us as entrepreneurs. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time. And for our viewers, please do share this and subscribe to our channel. And we'll be back with yet another episode shortly. Stay tuned.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
thank you all.